This is a house located in the Netherlands. It's from 2023, designed by Moke Architects. Now, this is a really cool design. Basically, all the structure is exposed, and if you look closely, everything that you're seeing here is pretty much a version of what's happening in the background. So it's a cool way to contrast what's happening in the context. While not straying away completely. So it references the design of the exterior. You know, you have this shape here of the roof, but it's just completely exposed. Now, on plan, this house does something a little unique. What it does is that instead of having a rectangle, it has that same rectangle divided in half. It pushes one to the left and pushes one to the right. And that's more apparent in this floor plan here. Now, the reasons that the clients wanted this to happen is because they wanted these two volumes to work a little bit differently. They wanted one to be more private and then the other one to be more public. And the more public feeling space, they wanted it to open up to views of the surrounding context, which apparently is very beautiful. And you can see in this shot exactly what I'm talking about with the views. Now, unfortunately, I can't understand exactly what makes up the floor plan, but it's pretty apparent that on the ground level, we have a kitchen and then a dining table that's in the same area where the kitchen is at, which is very strange because the dining table seems to be right behind where the sink is. And then here we have what's probably a living room or dining room. On the second floor, we can see on this volume that we have a bed. Not quite sure what's over here. And on the third floor, which is honestly my favorite part, they have an actual greenhouse. It's a rooftop greenhouse that has a portion of it on the exterior. So you can hang out inside this greenhouse, or you can step outside and hang out on the little terrace. And this is the shot of the actual greenhouse. Now, as you can see, it's very spacious. It's very open. It's such a nice space to be in. I love the fact that it adds to the views of the context. And they've gone and added some translucent PV panels over to the roof of the structure so that now you're making it even a little bit more sustainable than it already was. Now, I did mention that I didn't know what this volume was, but after looking at some of the photographs, it's apparent that this is a fireplace. So this seems to be like some office space, a study. It's evident that this is a place where work takes place. As you can see, the exterior of the house does a great job at combining different types of woods to decorate the facade, and a lot of it is also functional. The way that it's placed, it creates louvered walls for privacy, for shading. They also have a roof garden, which adds to the beauty of this project. The form also adds to the beauty of this project. Overall, it's a very nice project on the exterior. If we look at it in plan, this is an aerial shot from the top. It also has a very interesting form, and you see that some of these louvers are operable. It's cool because there's this sort of symmetry that happens at this house on both this axis and at some angled axis over here. That happens from the shifting of these volumes. They went ahead and connected these from one point to the other, and it wasn't clear to me at first why they did that. But then when we look at the shots, it's obvious to see that the reason for these connections was to add some privacy to the project. And it also makes a really cool, interesting texture that happens above you that also plays with light in a really cool way. If you look at these stairs, you create these patterns of light and shadow that are really cool. On the inside, for the most part, the house also is really interesting. It has a really nice neutral palette in most of the rooms, and it has this exposed timber structure, which adds to the beauty of the project because it references what's happening on the exterior. Fortunately, the palette on some of the interior spaces are kind of lost. There's a lot going on, and the architecture starts to become a little lost, and the spaces kind of feel a little disorganized. Spaces like these seem to work a little bit better because the palette is more contained. Definitely get a little bit lost in spaces like this. And you can see that the casework here is just not too pleasant to look at. Now, this house has a lot of cool like little features. For example, this stair that turns into a desk, a workspace. And then as you can see, it has a glass floor below that lets you see what's going on below and vice versa. The only thing about this is that I wonder how scratched up it could get from this. But this thing right here is very cool. This moment right here is very cool. There's even some cables here to protect anybody from falling over through. But a really cool piece of architecture, especially for cats. To be honest with you, this space in general is one of the most powerful spaces in the whole entire project just because of all the neat little features that are happening, but also these details that you have over here where the stair, the wall of the where the handrail goes, becomes the wall that's now louvered and you can possibly see through. And this connection here where everything is meeting at, it's just such a amazing space to be in. I'd question some details though that were included in this project, like why didn't they continue this? There's this step here that it just honestly, it makes it look like a mistake. I'm not in total disagreement with the change in material. I just think that the way that it was executed here, it just looks like someone forgot to draw the steps and plan, and then the contractor didn't build them and didn't ever issue an RFI or anything. So he just built it this way, and they were like, crap, we forgot to add these steps. Now we got to build this box here. Moments like this where the same thing kind of happened and they changed in material, and like I said, I'm not mad at it. I just think the way that they did it, it just makes it look like it was a mistake. It's cool that it's referenced in both moments. There's obviously something to be said about the fact that in both moments the steps seem to stop and then change, but there's no other reason for that. That doesn't really happen anywhere else in the project that is too apparent, and therefore it just looks like a mistake. It's definitely a talking point. People are going to come over your house and wonder why that happened, and they're going to ask you, and maybe that was their intention. Even in section, these stairs kind of read a little bit crazy. They do obviously reference the change in material, but you can see that the riser and tread dimensions are off in both, which is fine. It just, they've always been funky stairs from the get-go. Overall, this house has a lot of identity that is really apparent in shots like this, here, and here, but it kind of loses that same identity in some other interior spaces, like here, for example. And also here, I mean, it's just not as strong as the rest of the concept of the project. So overall, I think this is a really fun project. I love the exterior. I love a lot of the moments that happen within the architecture. My only gripe is that I wish that a lot of this that's happening on the interior was more like what was happening on the exterior. It's just so powerful on the outside. Like you look at a lot of these moments, and a lot of really cool stuff is happening, and then it's just lost on the inside. Like the inside just lacks a little bit of inspiration. I don't totally understand what happened with moments like this and whatnot, but overall it's a very cool project that I think is full with ideas and can inspire a lot of designers and architects out there as well.